Well, Skynet is not online yet, but a Google engineer now on paid leave has said that a Google AI chatbot has become sentient. What does that mean for us in the company? Well, watch the video to the end to find out. Hello and welcome to the channel, where we will be talking about the recent development at Google, where an engineer by the name of Blake Lemoine claims that one of its AI bots has become sentient. The use of several statistical and probabilistic techniques to predict the likelihood of a specific sequence of words appearing in a phrase is known as language modeling, or LM. To establish a foundation for their word predictions, language models evaluate large amounts of text data. They're employed in natural language processing, or NLP application, especially those that output text. Machine translation and question answering are two examples of these applications. Language models analyze text data to calculate word probability. They use an algorithm to interpret the data, which provides rules for meaning in natural language. The model then uses these principles to correctly estimate or construct new sentences in language problems. The model learns the basic properties and qualities of language and then applies them to new phrases. LaMDA is a cutting-edge technology that Google disclosed last year and has been employing internally to develop and improve the company's primary search engine. In a text interaction with the developer, the AI program became self-aware, according to Lemoine, identifying itself as sensitive. LaMDA's verbal abilities have taken years to develop. It's based on Transformer, an artificial neutral architecture developed by Google Research and open sourced in 2017. It's used in many current language models, notably BERT and GPT-3. This design results in a model that can be taught to read a large number of words in a phrase or paragraph. For example, pay close attention to how these keywords relate to one another and then predict what word will be next. LaMDA, however, was educated on dialogue, unlike many other language models. It picked up on a few of the quirks that set open-ended dialogue apart from other types of communication during its training. Reasonability is one of these nuances. Is the answer to a specific conversational setting logical? As an example, if someone asks, "I've only recently begun taking guitar lessons," you would anticipate someone else to say something along these lines. "How thrilling! My mother has an antique Martin guitar that she enjoys playing." Given the initial remark, that response makes it reasonable. However, common sense isn't the sole quality that distinguishes an excellent response. After all, "That's wonderful" is a reasonable response to almost every remark, just as "I don't know" is a reasonable response to nearly all questions. Satisfying responses are also more particular, related directly to the conversation's context. The response in the preceding case is reasonable and specific. But, according to Google, the most critical question they considered themselves about LaMDA was if it adhered to AI principles. Language is one of humanity's most powerful tools, but it, like all tools, can be abused. By internalizing prejudices, copying harsh statements, or repeating erroneous information, models based on language can proliferate that misuse. Even if the language on which it is trained is rigorously validated, the system itself can be misused. Blake Lemoine has been suspended indefinitely lately after claiming that LaMDA, a big language model built to speak with people, was alive. Lemoine went so far as to want access to a lawyer for LaMDA at one point, according to the Washington Post. He has said his opinions regarding LaMDA's personality was founded on his belief as a Christian, and the model is telling him it has a soul. Lemoine is a scientist. He graduated from the University of Louisiana with a bachelor's and master's degree in computer science, and he claimed he dropped out of a PhD program to take the Google position. He's also a mystic Christian priest, and although his interactions with LaMDA was part of his employment, he claims that his conclusions are based on his spiritual persona. Onlookers have been questioning Lemoine's genuineness, gullibility, and perhaps sanity for days. Entrepreneurs, including Elon Musk and OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, frequently mention the possibility of AI becoming conscious, especially in light of recent events by businesses like Alphabet and Microsoft to train huge language models. The question as to whether language models can be sentient has been debated since the 1960s, when Eliza, a crude chat box, was created. Language models have gotten increasingly believable at generating text that looks like it was written by a person, thanks to the emergence of machine learning and ever-increasing volumes of training data. Recent advancements have led to arguments that language models are fundamental to artificial general intelligence, that moment at which software can exhibit human-like abilities in a variety of locations and tasks, as well as the ability to transfer information between them. For decades, since people have questioned whether a computer program or a robot could become sentient. We see that all the time in science fiction. The artificial intelligence community overwhelmingly believes that this possibility will occur in the distant future, if at all. Perhaps this is why a Google developer stated that the company's sophisticated large language model, LaMDA, is a human with a soul, causing such a stir. Blake Lemoine, the engineer, regards the computer software as a buddy and has demanded that Google respect its rights. According to erstwhile Google ethical AI team co-lead, Timothy Gruber, in a statement given to The Wired, Blake Lemoine is a victim of an obsessive hype cycle. He didn't come to believe in sentient AI by accident. Hyped-up statements about superintelligent or human-like cognitive in machines are popular among the press, researchers, and venture investors. He'll bear the brunt of the consequences, but as she points out, it's the field leaders who manufacture this entire scenario, adding that the same Google VP who dismissed Lemoine's internal claim wrote more about the possibility of LaMDA awareness in The Economist just a week ago. While Lemoine went through an example of the robot empathy issue, as described by novelist and futurist David Brin predicted at a 2017 AI conference in San Francisco that in 3 to 5 years, people would claim AI systems were alive and demand rights. Those appeals, he felt, would originate from such a virtual agent posing as a lady or child to enhance human empathetic reaction, not some guy at Google. Brin believes that the LaMDA episode is indicative of a transitional phase in which the line between fact and science fiction will become increasingly blurred. Brin's 2027 forecast was predicted on breakthroughs in language modeling. He believes that the current tendency would lead to more scams. He believes it won't be too difficult to be able to persuade millions that an emulated human deserves protection or money. After all, if individuals were suckers for a chat box as simple as Elysia years back, then why not now? Because interpreting human language can necessitate many levels of common sense comprehension, language models can make mistakes. Last month, more than 400 academics from 130 universities contributed to a compilation of more than 200 exercises known as the Big or Beyond the Imitation Game to illustrate what huge capacity language models have and where they can fall short. Big Bench offers certain standard language model exams such as reading comprehension, as well as logical thinking and common sense tasks. A test named Social IQ-A was contributed by researchers from the Allen Institute for AI Mosaic Project, which examines AI models' common sense reasoning abilities. They asked language models, although it did not include LaMDA, to respond to questions requiring social intelligence, such as Jordan wanted to tell Tracy a secret, so Jordan leaned towards Tracy. What was Jordan's motivation for doing this? The researchers discovered that huge language models perform 20 to 30% worse than people. It seems strange to have a sentient machine that lacks social intelligence, and many AI modes still do lack this unique trait to humans. What's going on at Google can be chalked up to be part of a larger debate about whether computer entities can have feelings. Although biological humans are arguably trained to feel certain emotions, claiming that even an AI model can achieve consciousness is akin to claiming that a doll designed to cry is generally sad. Eugene Choi, who worked on the test, told The Wired she is unaware of any AI researchers that believe in sentient AI. But the events surrounding Blake Lemoine seem to demonstrate how a distorted understanding of what AI's potential can influence real-world events. More humans endow artificial intelligence with human characteristics, the more intensely they will search for ghosts in the computer, if not now, then later. The more they are diverted from the real-world difficulties that are currently plaguing AI, the worse it will be. There you have it, folks. That's the breakdown of sentience of the AI language model named the LaMDA and Blake Lemoine's claim about it. If you enjoyed the video, then please do give us a thumbs up and help make the sentient creator of this video feel better. And also subscribe to the channel for more tech updates. Also, make sure you press the bell icon to stay relevant in the fast-paced updates of this channel.